fans already getting into it here for him.
Put your hands together for Willa. She delivers the game ball to number 33, Kelly Kinney, to begin set number 1.
It'll be Kelly Kinney to kick things off here at the Pav. A top 20 matchup in this border battle. First meeting back in Madison a couple weeks ago, a 4-set Badger victory, but Charlie Furbringer, one of the best setters in the Big Ten, not on the court. Completely changes the dynamic tonight. She gets to work first, finding Mimi Collier, and quickly point number 1.
Really fabulous job by Charlie Furbringer here in this point. You're going to get a great look at just what we talked about in the open, where she keeps people really balanced. You see Jordan Taylor move the wrong way as the Minnesota blocker, giving Mimi Collier the one-on-one.
A great pass there from Una Viagic as well. That's something where Coach Kelly Sheffield says we are going to be challenged tonight because of Minnesota's serving. Service air will tie things up here early on. Coach Sheffield has lost 2 straight here at Maturi Pavilion, but the Badgers overall have won 10 of the last 12 in this series. It's been a little more dicey in Minneapolis, though, but he was telling us today how much he has loved this series, especially in this building, how fierce it is.
That's right. He said, you know, he's probably come out more on the losing end here in Maturi Pavilion versus most of the other sites that they play in the Big Ten. But he just thinks that both teams just come out to play so well, and it's just a battle every single time.
So far, Mimi Collier, by the way, 2 for 2 to lead the Badgers so far. 5.35 kills per set. That is second in the Big Ten. Barely to Kennedy Martin. She's at 5.38 after tonight. Third in the nation. Charlie Gilk tries to get the touch off the block. Collier putting away the soft shot. We are seeing her repertoire at work right now. I mentioned Mimi Collier, who is going to win the scoring crown in kills per set this season in the Big Ten. These two have gone head-to-head. The consistency is remarkable by those two, Kennedy Martin and Mimi Collier.
Absolutely, and both of them transfers in doing so well in their new programs, leading the way for both of their programs.
To be the top of the scouting report night after night, still put that up. Incredible work. Incredible work also by Minnesota's block. Julia Hansen and Lourdes Myers with the rejection.
What a block by Lourdes Myers there. She did such a beautiful job of making sure that she was there. Coach Keegan Cook was talking to us today about her eyes in out of system blocking, and there she was timed perfectly. Great pressure back to the middle of the court.
And the Badgers out of system, Minnesota, one of the toughest serving teams in the Big Ten. Gar sprinting to track it down. And Wisconsin's going to pick up the point with Hansen not able to put it over. Keegan Cook in his 3rd season leading this Minnesota Golden Gopher team, seeking back-to-back wins against RPI top 15 teams. That would be a huge boost for this team heading into the NCAA tournament.
Absolutely, and I think most people believe that with the win versus Purdue, that Minnesota does sort of lock their chances to host and probably has a very good shot at doing so, but there's no doubt that a win at Wisconsin would ensure that for sure.
Coach Cook says, we absolutely want to host the first weekend. That is the legacy of this program. Look at the crowds that we have here. We need to bring the postseason here to Maturi Pavilion. Viagic going off the block, but it will be a Minnesota point, looking strong at the net so far. I talk about Minnesota looking for their 3rd RPI top 25 victory. Could happen in this match, but Coach Cook says they are playing their best volleyball of the season, and the chemistry of this team is on point. Kinney gets it over. Viagic getting a lot of swings right now, and she pummels the floor with that one.
It's a really fantastic swing by Viagic. Minnesota's defense just not in the right position. We're going to get a great look here, watching her come in really hard at this cross court, just inside the block, and is able to squeeze it between those 2 Minnesota defenders.
Redshirt sophomore from Serbia, coming off a match in which she had 11 kills on 19 swings, just 1 error. Getting the touch is Grace Egan on a hard swing for the Badgers.
Grace Egan has really started to come on, especially in these last number of matches. She's averaging 2.45 kills per set, but certainly doing better than that in more recent matches, and has been a great option for these Badgers on the right side.
Something that was not a natural position for her coming into this season. Myers on the the slide, able to get the contact, and Minnesota within one.
And this will be an important thing for Minnesota to watch tonight, as Lourdes Myers on that slide and their ability to use the middles, especially in first ball attack, but also in transition. You see here, Lourdes Myers on the slide is a really nice ball, high enough for her to be able to hit high hands. And that one is a really critical run for Minnesota. If they can get that slide working, it really opens up their offense.
Going up the middle, looking for Ali Andrew. That play goes awry for Minnesota, and the Badgers say, I'll take that point.
Absolutely, and just a couple of errors here on the Minnesota side that are sort of unforced errors, not going to help them here versus the Wisconsin Badgers. You see it's just a set over the net, and Viagic isn't going to let that one go.
Grace Egan at the service line for Wisconsin. Big dig in the back row, the freshman Kristen Simon absorbing all that heat is gone. It's never easy to try and dig Mimi Collier. A free ball here for Minnesota. Swenson looking up the middle. Jordan Taylor converts for a Minnesota point.
What a great rally. Tons of great defense, really great offense. Check this out. You're going to see a great dig there by Simon, the freshman. And then on the other side, McKenna Garr, also a freshman. And then we're going to see a great finish out of Jordan Taylor, high hands. Great set choice by Stella Swenson.
Garr looked pretty fired up after digging Collier. This time, though, Viagic is going to get that to drop.
And that's the second time that Minnesota's defense just is out of position. I'm not sure if their block is out too wide and giving Garr too much space to cover, but Garr is not playing right off of the inside hand with the middle blocker, and that's two balls that have gone to her right. She's going to have to adjust versus Viagic.
Viagic back to serve. Targeting Gilk, the freshman outside. Opposite. Up the middle again. Jordan Taylor showing the soft touch.
Jordan Taylor leading the team in hitting efficiency. She's hitting .343 on the season, and it's things like this where she just makes really smart shots, especially for a true freshman in the middle. It's a really nice tip, catches everyone off guard.
Coach Cook says she's just had a quietly really great freshman season. Violation is going to give that point to Minnesota going into the net that time.
A center line violation there on Ali Andrew. She looked a little bit confused there, but unforced error for Wisconsin. We'll see if Minnesota can turn this into a run. It's a tight match so far.
Kenny, one of the best servers on one of the best serving teams in the country in Minnesota. And what a heads-up play that was by Furbringer and the Badgers.
And Charlie Furbringer, she's just so athletic, and she's been playing volleyball forever. She's grown up with a ball in her hands, essentially, and a really smart way to push that over the net and get the score for the Badgers. She's really a phenomenal setter.
And even with both her parents, who have coached in the college and professional and national ranks and national champions themselves, never pushed the game on her from a young age. Julia Hansen, Minnesota will want to get her going. She is now 8 kills from 1,000 for her career.
And you said it, Hansen, they're going to want to get her going. This is kill number 1 on the night for her, and Minnesota's going to need to rely on her in a big way. That deep cross-court shot is so effective for her.
Furbringer behind her head, looking for Carter Booth, who drills it to the ground.
Carter Booth, the transfer from Minnesota, started her career here in Maturi Pavilion and will finish her regular season career here as well. Take a look at this slide. Beautiful rhythm, right down the line. That's such a well-placed ball by Charlie Furbringer.
An example of why this is one of the most potent and efficient offenses in the country. Second in the nation hit percentage, .315, led by Furbringer. Collier has to readjust. Big dig in the back row by Kate Thibault. The bump set from Simon. Here goes Collier once more, and she's dug again in the back row. Joust at the net, kept up. We play on in this point. Tapped right back, but Gilk stuck with it. Hansen has that stuffed.
And you can see how much this means to these teams. I mean, Grace Egan blocks Julia Hansen and is so pumped. It's a great block. Watch this. She's going to penetrate over the net, push back with that left hand. Look how pumped she is. This means so much to both of these teams.
Service error gives the point to Minnesota. We're talking about Charlie Furbringer leading one of the best offenses in the entire country. Since she's come back in the 5 matches, they have dropped just 1 set. 13 assists per set over that period.
It's ridiculous. That's an insane amount.
If she qualified, she would lead the nation in assist per set, in fact. And here's another kill for Wisconsin, and they're starting to find their groove, creeping closer to hitting, actually now over 300 in this set.
That's right, and when we talked to Coach Kelly Sheffield earlier today at practice, he was talking about the passing of Wisconsin and that needing to be really a key. He said Minnesota serves so tough, they make us look like a bad passing team. So far, that's not the case tonight. They're passing very well.
Hansen misfires there, another point to to Wisconsin. But something Coach Sheffield told us too is that Minnesota is a team that sows doubt in an opponent because you will not be the better passing team that night because of how tough they are at the service line. I said, how will we handle that mentally? An ace by Mimi Collier. This run looking formidable for the Badgers right now.
Mimi Collier is such a good server for these Wisconsin Badgers. And, when we talk about serving, it's not just about aces. That certainly was a wonderful ace, but it's also just about the pressure that you put on people and whether or not that they can put a quality swing on the ball.
Back-to-back aces for Mimi Collier, one of the most all-around players in the country. It is a 5-point Wisconsin fire. Minnesota has 4 kills and 3 hitting errors.
Absolutely. Minnesota just has not found their groove at all, and Wisconsin just absolutely rolling right now early on in this match.
That's going to make it a 4-point difference. 15-11 is Wisconsin's lead, and a sign of relief for Minnesota after they were aced back-to-back times.
Yeah, really important for them to get out of that rotation for sure.
And an ace for Minnesota, Julia Hansen stepping up as one of the best servers, not just on this team, but in the conference.
That's exactly right. She has 28, make that now 29 aces on the season. Really nice job. Ball kind of drops in front of Libero Simon.
And getting Wisconsin out of system here. The block dialed up again for Minnesota, and Lourdes Myers leading the way.
Lourdes Myers is block number 2 early on in this match, and this is more of what Minnesota wanted from Wisconsin. They wanted to get Wisconsin out of system, make them sure that they could not get a great swing on the ball.
And again, Wisconsin out of system. Viakis tries to go off speed, and again Myers puts up a brick wall.
Lourdes Myers just doing it all. She does lead this Minnesota team in blocks. She came into tonight's match with 128, averaging over 1 block a set. She's certainly doing better than that here early in set 1.
Minnesota's hitting 056, but if they're getting points this way, why not? Another ace by Julia Hansen.
Julia Hansen now at 30, and she's going to force Wisconsin to take a timeout here, tied up at 15-15.
What a run by Minnesota, 5-0 after they had to take a pause, call a timeout. That was quite the reset.
Absolutely, and one of the things that Keegan Cook talked about today at practice is just about matchups. He wanted to get certain matchups, and you can see here that this is proving to be a very good matchup for Minnesota in this rotation with Julia Hansen serving these Wisconsin passers. Minnesota really rolling on it. Again, though, we know that this is going to be a tight match, so I would expect the Badgers to come firing right back.
It's something that Coach Cook, you can tell, is so proud of here in his 3rd season, how he's instilled this philosophy when it comes to serving, to see these kinds of results where it is executing, but balancing that risk.
Totally, and they work on it so much. Christy Jones-Shonderwood is a key part of their serving prowess here at Minnesota.
15-15 here in the first set as we look at the tournament resume comparison between these two teams. Minnesota looking for its 3rd RPI top 25 victory of this season. Both these teams have that formidable resume to be able to host at home that first weekend of the NCAA tournament, and would not want to be a team to come into either Maturi Pavilion or UW Fieldhouse.
I mean, both of those arenas terribly hard to play in for the visiting teams. Both really knowledgeable fan bases, both super passionate about the sport of volleyball, and so really, really fun for both of these teams to have that shot at hosting the 1st and 2nd rounds.
But Julia Hansen back behind the line where she has reeled off point after point for her squad. Off the tape, nearly lands. And then the dig in the back row by Hansen. For the back row, Collier with a blast, but that is kept up by Gar. Up the middle, Carter Booth, what a swing.
Carter Booth is playing such good volleyball right now. We're going to get a great look here at this McKenna Gar dig first off of Mimi Collier. Minnesota's able to turn it back over the net, but Carter Booth, Coach Sheffield said she's playing the best volleyball of her career right now, and certainly looks like it tonight.
I like what you said, too. She started her career here and ending her regular season career here, too. Verbringer settling things down. Look at the off-speed by Collier, putting it down.
And Mimi Collier is just so lethal. This is one of the things that makes her so hard to defend, is she's so prolific everywhere she is on the court. And interestingly, according to Coach Kelly Sheffield, she is hitting more efficiently and better out of the back row than she is even in the front row.
How do you even explain that? Going over the block is Myers, the pancake by Egan, and then the kill on the other side. We are seeing some really well-executed volleyball right now.
Wow, that's exactly right, Sloan. We're going to get a challenge here. Get a look at this pancake by Grace Egan. Great up, and then what a swing by Viagic. Big challenge here for Minnesota there.
Challenging ball in, unsuccessful pancake.
So they're challenging whether or not that ball was up from Grace Egan. We got a nice look at it right there. It's hard to tell in that angle, but the one prior, it did look like she had it up. Yeah, that ball is up.
That didn't even look like a fingertip, Meredith. That looked like the top of her palm.
Yeah, and this is where, if you're Minnesota, you need to keep playing on. You cannot just assume that call is going to go your way. You can't rely on this challenge. I think this is a poor job by the Minnesota Gophers. They just need to keep playing, and they sort of gave up on that point.
Wisconsin right now, with the way it stands, leading 18-15.
After review, the call is confirmed. It was a good pancake. Minnesota loses a challenge.
And there you can hear the R2 say call is confirmed. She didn't just say the call stands, which there is a difference. Call stands.
Daughters throughout this break, seeing the last match of the regular season. Off the overpass, it's going to be an ace for Wisconsin. We're seeing some really strong serving in this match.
Wisconsin really rolling. This is a nice one from Kristen Simon. You can see that ball just really, Wisconsin really focused on serving very close to the tape like most teams, and there just gets it to fall.
4-0 run for the Badgers now, swapping back and forth. The bump set from Simon. And the dig by Hansen. And that's going to land a point for the Badgers as they jumped on that ball at the net.
Wisconsin really rolling right now, doing a fabulous job, but putting the pressure on this Minnesota team from the service line and then converting in transition. Wisconsin hitting 290 so far. Take a look here at Una Viagic. She's going to take a nice rip, and she's going to squeeze it inside there. Just too much for Minnesota's defense, and then Allie Andrew taking care of that overpass.
The last win in this building by set number 1. It was tied at 10, Meredith. Wisconsin went on a 5-0 run, Minnesota a 5-0 run, and now Wisconsin on a 5-0 run. It'll be Kristen Simon, who was a freshman, has turned into one of the great liberos at the Big Ten. Getting Minnesota out of system following an ace. Right into the net, kept up by Egan. Viagic finding her groove here in set 1. She's got 5 kills.
That is not an easy ball to swing at, and Viagic gets it done. That ball is kind of a bump set coming after her. She's able to squeeze it through the Minnesota block, and Minnesota just very out of sorts here, hitting only 0-4-2 in this first set.
6-0 run for Wisconsin. Myers on the slide. Andrew sticks with it. Off the block, Wisconsin again will strike.
Grace Egan, I can't say enough great things about how she's really continued to come on as this season has progressed, and she is a wonderful option for these Wisconsin Badgers. Check this out. When Verbringer's off the net, she can still go to Egan, give her a great ball. Poor hand positioning by Kelly Kinney, and a great kill by Grace Egan.
Gar struggles with that serve, and a free ball coming up here for Wisconsin. Verbringer looking to Viagic. The hot hand continues for Wisconsin.
Viagic with her 6th kill so far in the match, and we expected to see a lot of Mimi Collier, but let's not forget about Una Viagic. She is doing a great job for this Badgers offense. 6 kills on 11 swings, hitting 273 so far.
Simon tries to keep it going, targeting Gilk that time. Lourdes Myers, very smooth on the slot.
And it all starts with a pass. Minnesota's passing has been so out of order so much in this first set. There they finally get a good pass, and Stella Swenson's able to put a really beautiful rhythm ball to Lourdes Myers, who takes care of it.
23-16 is Wisconsin's lead. Georgia Lee, lethal at the service line, comes right in and then gets a ding. Verbringer going to the back row, Collier into the nets, and Minnesota will make it 23-17.
Collier with an uncharacteristic error there, especially out of the back row. She's hitting 333 as an outside, which is just really remarkable. Here, just into the tape, Jordan Taylor is for sure a dynamic presence up there at the net.
And the block turns up again. Kinney, the denial that time.
Kelly Kinney, I mentioned her hand position was poor the last time. Certainly not so on this one. You'll see her read very well. Beautiful swing block, pushing that right hand back to the center of the court.
And a 3, Wisconsin creeping closer possibly to set point, 23-18. Georgia Lee will go back to work at the service line. At the top on this team, 27 aces this season in a serving specialist role. Grew up in Arizona, but idolized the University of Minnesota. The Gophers transferred from Rutgers. Took a lot of family vacations here. Gets to live out that dream. Vihagich absolutely slices that one.
Vihagich is kind of teeing off right now. She's really going off against these Minnesota Golden Gophers. And that was again, I mentioned this earlier, these left back defenders for Minnesota are moving to their right. The block is out of position, and therefore the back row is out of position. They've got to figure that out.
Grace Egan targets Gilk, who struggles with that serve. Verbringer drops it up to Vihagich, the hot hand, the overpass, and right there is Andrew.
This is a little bit of what's hard for Minnesota. They finally get a hand on Vihagich because she's been really teeing off on them.
So that injury propelled her to come to Wisconsin, that she was thinking about just playing professionally, following a lot of her colleagues and friends who she plays with, but she realized volleyball can be taken away from me. I need to have an education as well, and that made the decision for her to come to Wisconsin. She's taken advantage of it in her first full healthy season in Madison. Swenson has to go track that down, pushed over by Kinney. That's going to work for a kill.
Unusual kill, but Kelly Kinney will certainly take it. And one of the things that we've seen is Kelly Kinney's really matured here in the last few weeks of the Big Ten season. She was really inconsistent, especially out of system. There she's tried to control a little bit more of her out of system play.
First lead of the match for Minnesota off the kill from the freshman. Mimi Collier drills that ball for yet another kill. That's 5.
Mimi Collier there just over the block. Like, this is, you can't defend this. Look at this thing. It's a bump set. Look at the rip she takes over, kind of in the seam over that block. It's a great swing, and the power with which she attacks. It's quite the boom.
Natalie Wardlow into serve, and she immediately gets an ace. One of the fun stories for the Badgers this season, really didn't serve in club, but she said, I want to see the floor. This is how I'm going to do it.
Wardlow, a middle blocker. She's a freshman middle blocker, 6'4". She just goes back there and lets it rip, and has been such an important role player for the Badgers.
And then she gets Minnesota out of system. Let's hear it for the middle blockers behind the service line.
Right, Sloan.
On the slide, Carter Booth tunnelling it off the block, and Wardlow will have another chance.
Hear it from the middle blockers from the service line, and how about running the slide and Carter Booth having quite a match herself.
Carter Booth looking strong to start. 4 for 7, and it's 571 hitting as Wardlow back to it. Swenson looks up the middle. Egan keeps it up. Verbringer will not hit the line, maybe by a hair, and that point is going to go to Minnesota. We're talking about Carter Booth. She's had a great week this week, drafted by the Major League Volleyball franchise, the Dallas Pulse, alongside her teammate Mimi Collier, who went #1 overall.
Mimi Collier #1, Carter Booth #19. Opportunity to be teammates again in Dallas. Pretty cool.
So awesome to see so many opportunities here stateside for these players to continue their careers. And look at that, Kate Thibault into her own bench. We're playing on. Mimi Collier, though, trying to have something to say about that. Booth tapping it it to the floor, and Wisconsin will take that hard-earned point.
I mean, Mimi Collier taking swings. I love the set choices by Charlie Furbinger. Check out that dig, and then Kate Thibault running that thing down. But again, we're going to get a great look here. Carter Booth patrolling the net, pushing that ball back in court. Badger point.
Coach Cook looked like he was ready to push Thibault back. I'm going to catch you and then push you back into play. Here's Wisconsin striking again. Really showing the dominance at the net. Booth once more.
Carter Booth's stat line right now is crazy. She's got 5 kills on 8 swings, 0 errors, and then backs it up with 2 blocks.
And into the net, that was the freshman Addie Horner. So Minnesota takes a sigh of relief there. 5-3 is Wisconsin's lead still, sending Gilk back to the service line, where she's got 23 aces this season. Off the tape, read by Egan. Egan goes off speed to perfection.
Really smart shot by Grace Egan there. She can see Gilk playing way too deep on defense after that serve. Able to get it just over the block. Smart shot by Grace Egan.
3-6 lead for Wisconsin. Collier had 2 aces in set 1. Hansen looking to get her involved. Right there for the dig is Collier. Minnesota out of sorts. Egan looking again for the tip, but right there is Thibault. A free ball here for Wisconsin. And Carter Booth buries it in a hurry.
Carter Booth is so good right now. My goodness. She's having her way with these Gophers. It's a great pancake by Minnesota, but Carter Booth just too much.
Timeout called on the floor. Wisconsin leading 7-3. Carter Booth going off 6 for 9 in this game.
Minnesota she's wreaking havoc on them.
Coach Sheffield says this year she's opened her heart, has brought more joy into her game, smiling more in the gym, realizing she can have that edge, but still have fun. There's Julia Hansen with the kill for Minnesota, counting down till she gets to 1,000 for her career. Entered today needing 9 to get to that milestone. She's now at 2.
And a much needed kill there from Julia Hansen. You said only 2 kills out of her. She's going to have to be a lot more productive, and yet she heads to the back row. So we'll see how Minnesota gets her into the offense.
Biagic has been the go-to hand here in the second set. That is 8 kills. Around 300 hitting for the redshirt sophomore.
Charlie Furbinger doing a really nice job of getting her offense going. She's spreading it around. You know, there is sort of this tendency to go to Mimi Collier more often than not because she's so productive, but Charlie Furbinger really mixing it up.
That points off the service air going to Minnesota. It is 8-5. I wonder, Meredith, if that's an example too of what Coach Cook told us today, where he said, Mimi's going to be Mimi. Can we stop 2 of the 3 pins?
And so far the answer is no, but we'll see if they can adjust here.
Furbinger tight to the net. Andrew puts it away.
It's a really nice job by Charlie Furbinger to put Alicia Andrew in that position such that she just has that nice little thumb down cross shot. We're going to get a great look here from the serve from Georgia Lee. Well-handled pass by Wisconsin by Mimi Collier, and then Furbinger. Look at how she puts her in the great position, and then Andrew uses fantastic vision to hit that thumb down shot.
Collier said recently she is the best setter in the country. Playing her best volleyball, in the words of Sheffield. Pushed over by Kinney. Well executed by the freshman, who's playing her best volleyball this season as well.
It's a really smart shot by Kelly Kinney. I thought it was a nice job by Stella Swenson to put her in that position, and then Kinney with a really smart shot down the line. It's a veteran shot right there.
Coach Cook said it is hard to develop in Big Ten play, and that's what she's had to contend with. It's all coming together. Mimi Collier trying to take someone's head off.
That ball is coming with such pace. The tempo at which they run that back row ball is really, really good. When we were talking to Kelly Sheffield, he said, you know, one of the things that makes Charlie so great is that she's able to set that back row so well, and she knows where each hitter wants it because each hitter wants it in a little bit of a different position. That's a great example of putting Mimi Collier in a fantastic hitting position.
Hansen turned back, going from the back row. Collier with the finger wag, too.
Mimi Collier, I love her blocking. Her blocking stats are actually really strong. You're going to get a good look. Look how far she's pushing over the net, pushing that ball back into play. Coach Sheffield said that she is really, really strong as a blocker on that left pin. He said she's almost as big a factor on that left pin as Anna Smrek was on the right pin, which is saying something.
Incredible. On the slide, Taylor with a hard swing. That's going to be a point for Minnesota to strike back.
I love Jordan Taylor just going about her business. She's done so well here being thrust into the lineup, not expected to play, and yet she does a nice job. Beautiful slide run. Great set by Stella Swenson. Both on offense and defense, she's getting it done.
Furbringer awkwardly still able to get it over to Andrew. Oh, what a block again. Andrew and Collier celebrating that rejection.
It's a really good block. It was a great out-of-system set by Jordan Taylor, but Carly Gilk has a tough matchup there with Mimi Collier being the blocker against her, and Alicia Andrew doing a nice job, the transfer from Baylor.
There's no doubt that Collier, as you were saying, one of the best blocking outsides that you will come across. Really unheralded part of her game. As that goes out, Minnesota picks up the point from the service air.
Another good look here at this Collier block. Look at that move and then pushing back. She's just so strong, so vertical, and her hand position and vision is so good.
Coach Sheffield said that if she was on the national team right now, she would be the best blocking in left pin. Again, saying a lot. Furbringer looking up the middle to Booth. Thibault right there. Big dig in the back row by Simon. Hansen, very nicely done getting the contact for the kill.
I mean, the defense on both sides of the net. Kristen Simon, what a dig on that Carly Gilk swing, and then Minnesota kind of ball all over the place, but able to get it. Check this out. Great dive by Kate Thibault, and then Julia Hansen with a fantastic high hand swing.
Collier, and off the overdig. He's going to give Wisconsin the point. And there was just too much heat on that.
The velocity at which Mimi Collier hits is just crazy. She's got such a fast arm swing. She's hitting so hard. It's just really tough to defend.
13-9 is Wisconsin's lead. Minnesota out of system and a free ball here for Wisconsin. Horner into the match. And they'll pick up a point. Minnesota can't handle it there.
Wisconsin is just hitting with such power that Minnesota's defenders are really all over the place and having to dig. That's a really high ball. It's a tough one to set. And Wisconsin's offense just humming.
Corner at the service line, no Furbringer on the court right now. Swenson has to do something with it. The next contact not there, and Wisconsin continues to feast on miscues.
Minnesota just really out of sorts. Wisconsin putting all the pressure on from the service line. They take the lead
5,000. In fact, the last time a Big Ten team went 20-0 in Big Ten play was Penn State in 2009. Could be seeing history in that match.
Boy, Nebraska's been looking so strong lately, and Ohio State, though, finally starting to turn it on here late in the season. So we'll see what that matchup looks like.
15-10 after that last Julia Hansen kill. Hansen now leading her team with 4 kills, but hitting 0 in this match. Viagic just gets it over. Hansen one more time. That's going to land out, and Wisconsin will take that point. Wisconsin, the number 10 team in the country, 23-4 overall. Look at their top RPI wins. You got Purdue, Indiana, Kansas, and this Minnesota team that happened in Madison a couple weeks ago, even without Charlie Furbringer. 8th schedule. They're in a very good place to host when it comes to the first weekend of the NCAA tournament. And they'll be tough to stop. That's going to land. Things completely out of control there, and Minnesota will pick up the point.
I mean, if you're Minnesota, you got to take it because everything that they've done just doesn't seem to work. Here, Julia Hansen just flying up the court, able to just squeeze it in. Almost looks like she uses those Wisconsin blockers to kind of block her shot, the vision of her shot, the vision of the rest of the defenders.
Grace Egan started off the first set hot. Furbringer cross court. Viagic, that's dug in the back row. The next contact putting Wisconsin in trouble. Kinney gets another swing, and she puts it down, slice it cross court.
It's a really important point for Minnesota. Finally, they've got Wisconsin kind of out of system and not hitting hard. They've got to figure out how to be terminal and to get some kills, and there Kelly Kinney gets it done.
Got multiple chances there from Swenson for that point, and an ace will go to Minnesota.
And who is it but Julia Hansen, their third ace of the night, and she's going to force Wisconsin to take a timeout here.
Minnesota now within 3, a 3-0 run. We have seen multiple scoring runs on either side.
And this is a great job by Julia Hansen. She kind of puts it in an awkward seam between Collier and Simon, a little miscommunication. Finally, it feels like Wisconsin has made an error. I mean, they've played so strong.
We saw Minnesota be able to wreak havoc against Wisconsin at the service line. In fact, even Una Viagic, she was aced 5 times by the Gophers, and Coach Sheffield said after the match, she's statistically the second best passer in the conference at the time. I don't think she's been aced 5 times in her career.
Pressure, when they can finally kind of put Wisconsin back on their heels, it gives their defense a better chance. And if their offense can just get going a little bit, you sort of think, man, this is going to be a lot closer. They're within 3, so certainly close, but hasn't felt necessarily all that close.
Well, Minnesota has displayed amazing resilience this season. 4 starters out with season-ending injuries in the NCAA tournament.
It really is remarkable, and you have to give Keegan Cook and his staff great credit, along with giving these freshmen great credit. They have really had to learn and grow very quickly.
Minnesota doing work at the net again. Lourdes Myers continues to be involved in a lot of impactful plays.
Lourdes Myers, a senior here for this Minnesota Gophers team, and she's really getting it done at the net. They've been working a lot on her blocking. They've been working a lot on that slide. Both of those things she's done very well so far tonight.
Hansen back behind the line, targeting Collier. Carter Booth has that dug by Goff. Into the net goes Kinney, and Wisconsin will build again a 3-point lead.
And this is what I'm saying. You've got to find a way to be terminal. When you finally dig a Carter Booth ball and you get it up to your setter into this match.
Wisconsin more than doubling up Minnesota in kills, 29-13, and yet we have a battle here. Look at that dig by Furbringer, setter to setter. She knew it was coming. Swenson lost her hair tie. She's trying to put it back up here during this play, but Wisconsin's going to jump right on that one.
I mean, my goodness, Charlie Furbringer all over that dump by Stella Swenson. Check it out here. She's ready to go. Great dig. And then Wisconsin's block doing Swenson in the middle, you see there, trying to fix her hair as she's kind of stuck, and then Wisconsin's block getting it done.
Service error will give the point to Minnesota. And I point that out because it is significant. If you lose your hair tie, you got to stay locked in, but also it's a significant loss in the moment.
Amen. Amen.
And look at Wisconsin, 8 service errors in this match so far, Meredith, 0 from Minnesota. Off the tape, Andrew right there. Viagic gets the hands, gets the kill.
Viagic back on the board here. She got a little quiet there the last couple of rounds through, but a great job there, and great job by Wisconsin handling that very tough serve from Georgia Lee.
Now it's Grace Egan at the service line for Wisconsin. Leads this team in aces. For the back row, Hansen, but no, that's going to be an illegal back row attack. She went over that 10-foot line.
Back row attack is right, and again, that's an unfortunate thing because Wisconsin finally, Minnesota able to handle the serve, puts a nice pass up, and then Minnesota just not able to convert. Grace Egan goes back again.
Need every bit of that foot behind the line. Add another ace for Grace Egan.
You said it, she's leading the team with 23, now 24 service aces on the season. Just bottom drops out of that thing. Grace Egan, the transfer from Ohio State, doing a great job for the Badgers.
Again, leaves it short to Carly Gilk. But that's going to land out of bounds. Minnesota will take the point when they were the ones in trouble.
Absolutely. I wonder here if we're going to have a challenge.
Is there contact at the net?
Looks like we won't have a challenge. I think we're just given a little bit of time. Andrew hit Viagic. Andrew's elbow hit Viagic there on that play. That ball beat. Oof. She just really kind of elbowed her. She kind of manhandled her. But Grace Egan, of course, gets it done with another service ace for the Wisconsin Badgers.
Swenson tight to the net. Kinney tries to push it over. From the back row, wow, by Mimi Collier. You can dig it off of any part of your body. Gar again flying over the floor. Kinney is able to jump on that ball for Minnesota.
Callie Kinney, but that's McKenna Gar's point. You're going to see her take this ball off the shoulder from Mimi Collier out of the back row. Woo! Right off the shoulder, but still keeps it in play, and then kept it in play again so that Callie Kinney could get that swing. McKenna Gar earned that one for Minnesota.
Hey, no one said it has to be a textbook dig by any means. Andrew off the slide. Gar again chases it down. Kinney, though, is able to get the point from Minnesota off of the effort from Gar.
McKenna Gar doing everything she can to keep this Minnesota team in it. And there, Callie Kinney able to squeeze that in between Allie Andrew and the net.
Stella Swenson leads this team in aces. Tough one there. Andrew again off the slide and an overpass. Bjagic gets a piece of the block. Big dig by Collier. And another one in the back row by Hansen. Kinney has that turned back. We're seeing digs all over the place. And then Gilk, the upper hand going off the block.
What a point! And one of the key differences for Minnesota in that point is the block touches and the continued defense by McKenna Gar. Both sides getting it done, both front and back defense. And then Carly Gilk, not right-handed there, goes with the right hand, tips it off the block.
A 3-0 scoring run by
They're losing down at the field house a time or two. It's rough.
And sometimes there are split allegiances where you just
I think that's a rarity, Sloan. I don't think you see often a split allegiance between Wisconsin and Minnesota, but we found the two.
And that comes from the former Gopher who's technically from Wisconsin. Here's Mimi Collier, terminal with that swing from the back row.
Mimi Collier with kill number 8 on the night and doing exactly what she does, hitting .412 for this team. You know, one of the things that is so impressive is just how efficient she is. She's done a really beautiful job, and she takes a very heavy load for this Wisconsin Badgers team.
An ace for the Badgers, and they will take set number 2. It is a 2-0 lead for Wisconsin.
That is competitive, and these coaches no doubt have some tough decisions to make as they look at postseason awards.
Start of set number 3 here at the Pav. Collier going high hands and already point number 1 on the board.
Maybe Collier, maybe she heard us talking, Sloan, that she needs a few more kills to catch Kennedy Martin. She's going to start off strong, getting the first one. Get a good look here. It's a great high hand swing from Mimi Collier. Minnesota, good block touch, but just too high, not able to defend. It's a smart shot by Mimi Collier.
As a former middle blocker, Meredith, it's so tough when they go high hands because you feel like you did all the work.
It's very frustrating.
Lourdes Myers misfires there. It's going to be a 2-0 lead for Wisconsin. Strong start out of the gate.
Lourdes Myers with her first hitting error there of the night, but Minnesota, I like going to her. I like getting that middle established, seeing if they can get their offense really moving here.
Minnesota, speaking offensively, hitting .079 and nearly getting aced here. Wisconsin hitting .320. Furbringer settling things down. Swenson looking to Kinney with a fiery swing for Minnesota.
It's a really good swing by Callie Kinney. Coach Keegan Cook has talked about kind of what has been the difference in the last few weeks with her, and it's really about a few changes that they've made to her approach. Here you can see it's just a short, quick approach, those last 2 steps hard, and a really nice cross-court swing.
All freshmen are going to have their ups and downs, and he said Kinney was kind of that last one to come on board, and her surge has been really enjoyable to watch. Meanwhile, Furbringer using her IQ for the dump.
That is a really smart move by Charlie Furbringer. It's a smart shot. She uses great vision right between these blockers. Really smart.
She's so fun, crafty to watch. The daughter of 2 coaches. That's going to land out by just a hair. Minnesota will bring it within 1.
Maddie Horn coming in a couple of times here to serve for Furbringer, but Horner just a little too long. That's her second service error of the night. Furbringer will come back in now to continue to run this Badgers offense.
Stella Swenson at the service line. She is very tough. Carter Booth slams it down.
Really smart. I love how Charlie Furbringer is picking her hitters and picking where to set. She's done a really good job of finding the hitter that has the one-on-one and putting them in position. It's a couple of times now where we've seen her set that middle one-on-one.
There's been so much variety to this offense, one of the best in the country. Off the overpass, Carter Booth takes care of it.
Carter Booth, Carter Booth, Carter Booth. She is having herself a night here to end her Big Ten career. A really strong serve here from Mimi Collier, such that it's an overpass, and Carter Booth just taking care of business.
She's 8 for 16 in this match. Jordan Taylor is going to pick up the point for Minnesota, though.
Jordan Taylor coming out of the middle. Minnesota's middles, not tons of production, but pretty efficient here. That's Jordan Taylor's 4th kill on 6 swings. She's hitting .667, so if Minnesota can get her the ball more, they're going to want to do that.
Kelly Kinney back to serve for Minnesota. Furbringer goes behind her head, looking for Egan. Hansen had to chase that down. We're going to play on here. Hansen again had to reset. Has that sent back. Furbringer, deep cross-court set, and what a swing to pay it off by Viagic.
It's a great swing by Viagic. And how about that set? And how about that ball placement to push Viagic all the way out? You can tell Minnesota's block was stuck too far inside. Wow, Furbringer had to push that nearly all the way across the court. Viagic makes him pay.
Coach Sheffield says no matter where she is on the court, she can find any hitter. That is so unique and special to her. Meanwhile, the middle attack working for Minnesota. Taylor again
starts with a really good pass, and then Jordan Taylor now 5 for 7 on the night. Minnesota's middles are being efficient. If Minnesota can continue to control the ball, it's a beautiful pass by McKenna Gar, and then a nice little gap set to Taylor.
That set goes off the tape. Furbringer able to steady things. Look at that dive by Thibault, throwing her whole body on the floor. Furbringer looking Collier back row, and she takes care of it.
It's a really sneaky set by Charlie Furbringer. Lourdes Myers totally bit on that middle on Allie Andrew. Watch this chase down. Kate Thibault sprinting after it, keeping Minnesota in the play. But then you're going to get a great look there. Lourdes Myers jumps with Andrew, and Collier takes care of it.
Short serve by Wisconsin. Gill will misfire, no, but she's going to get the touch. And Minnesota will get the point there. They're within 2.
It's an important kill for Carly Gill. She's had a bit of a rough night tonight, both on passing and in terms of her offensive production. So a really important second kill for her.
Missile of a serve from Gill. Viagic again slices. There's really not been an answer for her. She's got 11 kills.
And that ball out to Viagic is a nice tempo. It's pretty quick out there. You can see Minnesota's block has been ill-formed all night. She loves running that faster ball and is doing a great job hitting cross-court.
Coach Sheffield calls her a Swiss Army knife, someone you just throw out there and she plays, makes the right decisions. Swenson, upset at herself, goes into the net. Wisconsin now leading 9-5.
And that's a little bit of kind of how Minnesota's night is going. And they're going to take a timeout here to talk about it, but it's a little bit like, man, they're right there and then just...
Penn State battles Rutgers as the football regular season comes to a close. The action kicks off at 3:30 Eastern, 12:30 Pacific on the Big Ten Network and the Fox Sports app. Both teams trying to finish the regular season on a high note, as are both these teams here in the Borer battle, Minnesota and Wisconsin. Minnesota, though, is going to pick up yet another point on a service error by the Badgers. That is 10 that they have in this match.
It's very clear Wisconsin wants to put the pressure on Minnesota's passers. That strategy is paying off. Yes, they have 10 service errors, but they've picked up both set wins and have Minnesota auto system very frequently.
Egan from the back row, tapped back by Myers. Collier pushing it through the block. Collier has that dug in the back row by Hansen. Collier once more into the net, says that's my bad, and that point's going to go to the Gophers.
Collier was running that one pretty quickly. Furbringer tried to get that ball out to her as fast as possible, but Collier just a little early and therefore takes it into the net. Minnesota point here, and they're within 2.
Despite being nearly doubled up in kills, 39-20 in the ball game in set 3. Poking it over the block. Myers in tight space with the slide, an emphatic finish.
Wow, that's the best slide I have seen Lourdes Myers hit all season long. I love the tight run next to Stella Swenson. She kind of cuts inside of blockers. We're going to get a really good look at it, and she's going to get that seam and really hard hit ball.
Coach Cook says those two have worked incredibly hard to get that timing down. Meanwhile, Collier doing what she does best. That's 11 kills now.
And Mimi Collier, last rally, taking it a little bit off of her swings, not finding rhythm, and then kind of comes right back to it. And that's one of the signs of someone who's a really strong, confident outside hitter.
Hitting .360 against this Minnesota team. Overpass, play at the net. St. Gilka's right there to play on. Furbringer looking to Booth on the slide. Myers keeps it up. And the block again. Carter Booth, a punishing stop.
Carter Booth is doing a phenomenal job, and that's just an error that Kelly Kinney cannot make. You've got Carter Booth blocking in front of you. You've got to go higher hands. You've got to go inside. You've got to tip. That's just lights out when you got that block in front of you.
Into the net, another service here by the Badgers. 11 now. They have surrendered to Minnesota. And that has certainly helped this be more closely contested. Wisconsin, though, leading 2-0. Final match of the regular season for both of these teams. Bragging rights on the line, too, after Wisconsin took the first border battle matchup this season in Madison. What a missile that was from Lee, and then she digs it. Kinney, that time, is able to tool it off the block.
Here we go, a little higher hands. Carter Booth's hand not as well positioned. A really important point for Minnesota. I mean, check out this rotation for Wisconsin. You've got Carter Booth running slides. You've got Mimi Collier taking swings. But look at that swing by Kelly Kinney off the hands.
Lee, too long there. A point goes to Wisconsin. That is the first surface error for Minnesota all night. She's going to check out for Gar coming back into the action here. And here comes Addie Horner. She had 4 aces against Minnesota the first time out in Madison. Too long there, though. It's swapping service errors right there.
Yeah, and that's Horner's third missed serve of the evening. Each time she's come in, she served it too long. She's got to get it under control. Otherwise, Wisconsin's going to look for a different option there.
Here's Swenson. Getting Wisconsin out of sorts, but yet Carter Booth is right there to save the point.
Carter Booth, that is 9 kills on 19 swings. She has not made an error. Watch this, kind of really messy, but Booth able to just put it in the right spot in the court. Really nice senior play there by Carter Booth.
She's playing lights out in this match against her former team. Off the tape, how was that kept up by Swenson? And then Gilk just pushes it right into the block, a heads-up play.
Not often that Stella Swenson is serve receiving, but there she does it. And Gilk with a really nice, smart shot. Check that out. Ooh, right off the tape. Very heads-up play by Stella Swenson. Then Gilk right off the hand, smart shot.
Swenson just seems to have a knack for making those kinds of plays. Furbringer looking up the middle. Carter Booth delivers.
Carter Booth is right now unstoppable, and it really starts with the ball control that Wisconsin is showing. We mentioned earlier, Coach Sheffield was really concerned with the passing and said Minnesota is going to make us look like we're not good at passing. And so far, that's not been the case. They've had a couple of breakdowns, but other than that, Wisconsin's passing's been phenomenal.
3 Badgers in double-figure kills. Taylor couldn't quite handle it. Point goes to Wisconsin, now leading by 3. This is a must-win set for the Golden Gophers.
And there, Stella Swenson chooses Taylor on the perfect pass, and I know that she's wanting to run that middle and get things to open up, but you've got Julia Hansen out on the left. You're going to want to use her and get her into this match.
Kristen Simon back to work off the tape, and there is Swenson once more. Furbringer looking to Egan as that turned back, and a successful kill for Grace Egan.
Grace Egan with kill number 5 on the night. I love that she just goes up there and rips hard at these Minnesota blockers. Minnesota going to take a timeout to talk about it.
Wisconsin still in the draw.
And she's going to stay in and serve now.
Hadn't served in this match. That one falls off the table. Verbringer goes behind her head. That's going to land in by Egan. The Badgers continue to roll in set 3.
And you can see there that Minnesota's block really keying in on Carter Booth because she's been so prolific tonight. They're staying home, and then they're diving out at Grace Egan. She's able to just hit that deep corner.
Minnesota lost to the Badgers in 4 sets in Madison. There was no Charlie Verbringer on the court. She was injured for that match. Much different story, possibly this time. Verbringer looking to Collier. Wow, what a swing.
Just fantastic job by Wisconsin Badgers offense, and Minnesota's defense. As much as they're trying to keep this team in it, Wisconsin is just too much.
Match point for Wisconsin, and fans in red on their feet. Jordan Taylor keeping Minnesota in it here in set 3.
Who else but Jordan Taylor doing a fantastic job making sure that she keeps her team in it. Smart shot, as always.
She just seems so steady and poised, doesn't try to do too much, and Coach Cook says she keeps it in play. Carter Booth, apropos, the former Gopher, ends it.
Carter Booth, 12 kills on 23 swings. Not an error made out of Carter Booth tonight. And my goodness, did she mean